Yeah, up there. Speaking of cashing out, there's something going on within, like we're speaking internationally, but we also have to speak about what's going on in what we call the black community. That's what the news is about, right? Where we're talking about everything, what's affecting our people throughout the earth. Now, before you is what you would call what? It's all, you know, it's all on social media right now. Twitter's blowing it up. YouTube is blowing it up. And what's going on here is now Umar Johnson. I would say Dr. Umar Johnson, but it's coming out that this guy is not even a doctor. From North Philly, around the same area where I grew up at, mind you. Right? And I'm going to show you why this is important and paramount while we're bringing this out. Speaking of cashing out, this guy claimed that he was a doctor, claimed that he had all these degrees. But listen, we have many people who fake positions like Dr. Phil or whatever the case might be. Who cares about that, right? Here's the issue. This guy used these credentials, these fake credentials, to do what? To exploit poor black mothers. Saying that if you send money to my school, I will have a school where children, your boys, don't have fake or wrong psychic evaluations, and that it'll be a school that's teaching black pride or whatever the case is, all the good stuff of Pan-Africanism, all the black pride things you would like to hear, right? But here's the problem. He took all the money through GoFundMe, and there never was and never would be a school. Now, you're probably asking, well, why are we talking about this, right? Well, this is why, brothers and sisters. Let me read this out of the Bible real quick, right? We're Bible people. Micah, the 3rd chapter in the 11th verse. Even though this brother don't believe he's an Israelite, if his family come from those slave ships, according to the Bible, he's of the stock of Judah, the children of Israel. And we fell as a people. Why? Because when we were a people in Israel, right, we dealt as a people with this same evil, wicked activity. And that activity led to our demise, right? Let me read this in the book of Micah real quick. It says, this is why the Lord judged us, right? I'm not talking about the white man right now. The white man have never been our problem. Okay, let me make that clear. He have never been our problem. We have been our problem. And the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28 that if we sin against his law and scorn and just pass him off as nothing, like a lot of black atheists are doing today, that he would send a nation against us, a fierce nation, a fierce continent, as quick as the eagle flieth. The eagle represents Rome. The Most High God sent the white man based on people like that. There's prophets in the Bible and righteous men in the Bible. Okay? There are. We read about them all the time. These are they who was during those time periods pleading with our own people, saying we can't do that to our own people. Read Jeremiah, read Isaiah. So I'm not going to just sever this out as some type of black consciousness problem. Okay, this is not just a black consciousness problem. We have always, as a people, operated like this. And our people have always allowed it. Right? Let me read this. Micah 3:11. It says, the heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire, and the prophets thereof divine for money. What's divining for money? Giving you this elaborate future pie in the sky that they know does not parallel with the Most High's prophecies concerning our future. See? They'll divine for money. They'll give you a future or say, listen, we're going to do this in the future. We're going to do that in the future. The only thing that's going to happen in the future is what's written in the Bible concerning the Most High God's prophecies, that the nations will come against us if we don't come together under the God who put us in this condition. Right? That this place, the Western world, will be up in smoke. And we need to prepare for that. Lay down our sins in preparation for this. Right? That's not divining and saying, giving you a pie in the sky. This is real. Geopolitically and otherwise. And that's why we have the news here. Now, mind you, it says here, they will divine for money. Our black boys are being abused. Our black boys are being this and our black boys are being that. We need a school. Now, who's not going to be behind that? Our black boys are getting shot. Our black boys, I'll tell you what, you want our black boys to be saved? Give them the law, statutes, and commandments of their God. Show them how to value the spirit of the God who made them. See, that's what you instill in the black boys. Not no divining for a GoFundMe account. Now, what happens with this? How does that relate to us? You have other people that'll come out there and in the community, talk to brothers and sisters and try to help them. And they'll say, man, we don't want to deal with none of y'all guys. I just gave my money to this guy, right? And he's somewhere at a strip club making it rain. I don't want to hear none of y'all now. That's how it works. Because even though we can tell the difference and separate one from another, our children can't. See? The unlearned can't. They're looking at us, all of us as black people exploiting black people, and no one is saying anything. But God said it. And every time you try to bring the knowledge to those brothers like that and say, listen, it's wrong, they'll say, well, I don't believe in that fairy tale. I see why you don't believe in that fairy tale or that Bible, or you're an atheist. Because you know your deeds are evil and that book judges your deeds. And I'm going to show you how spiritual the book is. Even if you don't believe in it, if you read it, it will still have an effect on you. Okay? It'll still affect your conscience. Because now the Bible brings to life the evil you've been ignoring. It actually brings that to an head. When you read the scriptures and you look at what the righteous is, you'll be like, man, I'm not like that. I want to be like that. And it'll begin to what? Excuse or accuse you. Because on the other hand, you'll be like, well, yeah, I am like that. That's nice. It'll either excuse or accuse you. So they'll rather ignore it and and convince themselves God don't exist. To absolve themselves with what? While thieving and destroying God's people. No one is saying anything. Now listen to what it says. The prophet Micah. Yet will they lean upon the Lord. They'll always talk about this spiritual being that they believe in, who've inspired them to do what they're here to do, was sent to do. They'll lean upon the Lord and say, is not the Lord amongst us? Look how powerful. Look at me. I was born to do this. It's no coincidence the day I was born. I'm a spiritual intervention for you black folk. None evil can come upon us. They'll do it. They will do it outright in full deceit and arrogancy, and then claim, I dare you to say something. Okay? I dare you to call me on this. And I'm going to tell you right now, this happened in the Bible, and it led to our demise. But these people continue to operate, and they're being pushed continually as a solution amongst our children, especially online. Right? on platforms, let me get it, on platforms like this, from unbelievers, unrepentant, evil men that's looking to do what? You got it. Profit off of the poor with no clear-cut solutions. Okay, we're going to tell you like it is. If we can call out Creflo Dollar, we can call out the ghetto hustlers. Now, I'm used to them living in North Philly and all that. You right? Going on 52nd Street, where all the Muslims are and all the hustlers are, all the tables out, all the bootleggers are. We're used to that because we knew what it was growing up in the hood, right? But it's another thing to bring your game, right? Your street hustling game worldwide, as if no one can see it. Everyone know that the same guy that was selling you Farrakhan tapes and all that on the street was the same guy selling bricks of cocaine. We all seen that growing up. The same cats that was talking the consciousness stuff were bringing in the poisons within our neighborhoods. Real game, what they call real game. And what is it? You know why they don't want nobody to say something? Because there's a code. Now I'm going to separate things real quick, and I'm going to let you know how we grew up, okay? There was a code not to knock another man's hustle. That's how it was in the streets, North Philly. Why are you trying to knock his hustle? You see somebody ganking somebody on a 3-card Molly over there, and you can't tell them that, don't you know that there's no P there? Don't you know that there's nothing under any of those? Because you couldn't knock his hustle. They done made YouTube their 3-card Molly game. And no one has called them out. You know why? Filthy lucre. Right? Now, I will not put this out there without saying, well, what's the solution for brothers and sisters? Because you're going to always have hustlers looking to exploit. They did it. They do it in the hood. And now they found their way online. This is how you do it, brothers and sisters. Right? If someone is coming up with an idea or a scenario or a situation that they would like to push and say, well, listen, go fund me. You give me this and I'll do that. Well, be like, well, listen, I'll tell you what. We're not going to do it that way. The way we'll do it is this, okay? Since you are taking community funds for a community venture, let's have a committee outside of you deal with the profits of that. And then we'll build the project that will help our neighborhood for each venture. So now we can see an automatic, right? We can see an automatic, what you would call positive response from what we put our money in, right? So it's not this thing where somebody can give a show or give this and that, and then one guy is holding the bag and saying, look, I gave you a stage so that you can hear some information. When there's nothing tangible you can take back into your communities. That's how you do it. All right? Because I can tell you this, and you know what? It's a shame what's going on in the church because we see what the churches do. But we can't lie or we can't minimize the tangible things we see churches do, though. We see them giving out food. We see them setting up little institutions or little daycare centers and giving out food and at food banks and doing certain things like that. That's tangible. Now, even though they're false in doctrine, they're giving something to the community. Right? What have they given to the community? Where's the institutions? Where's the help? A matter of fact, they're anti-Christ, anti-Bible, and no one has said anything. And you know why this guy will support this guy? Because if this guy falls, guess what? They're going to go to the people who gave him a platform against you. See? See how it works? Now, Elder Gabar, you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Elder Gabar, I know this hits home with you. Why? Because you're right there with them. A matter of fact, you have done different debates and all that, and you've also intimated to me at one time while I was overseas, like maybe I can come through and do a few things. And my answer was what? What was my answer to you, Gabar?
Well, we have to talk about that because you kind of dealt with them before, and you know the history. So you kind of gave me the backdrop on how these guys operate, and really, you gave me the blessing to operate with fair warning, but the understanding that these guys are just simply just hustlers. They just take the ignorance of the community and kind of create this pseudo scholarship, as you will, and basically just hustling our people and selling them a dream. So absolutely, I remember those days.
Well, another thing is, you was mentioning to me while I was overseas that, I can come through and maybe do a few things and probably get with these brothers because maybe we can bring something forth within the community. Now, at first, guess what? I said I would sleep on it, right?
Yeah.
I said I would sleep on it because any platform to teach the truth is a platform to teach the truth, right?
Absolutely.
But I said to myself, you know what? And I said to you, and eventually my decision was, we have work to do. We have churches to build. And we have to understand what we already have amongst each other, the work we've put in for our people. Why are we going to have a platform on this brother's stage so that he can get paid through the arguments, not bringing forth no solution? On top of that, after it's all said and done, he's going to go behind us and begin to smear everything that we brought forth positively. Why? Because he's really against us.
Right.
So I would rather say, listen, we can put our money together and make a stage and bring forth solutions than have two people arguing different ideas in the same hell with no solutions.
Absolutely.
I would rather just pay for that same stage and give in ourselves and bring our solutions ourselves instead of giving it to instead of giving it to not only an enemy of ours who've destroyed our communities, but an enemy of God. These people don't believe in the God of Israel. They don't believe in the Bible. So why should I help him get a red cent when he haven't brought forth anything tangible outside a YouTube page that what? That he's taking advantage of our people with. And no one is saying anything. But go on, Elder Gabar.
Right, and one of the things, you line back into the conversation you and I have, this is going maybe with 3 years now. This debate was a while back. When you was out in the States. One of my desire was, and I think, it was when guys like Sonetta and different these black conscious platforms were getting very popular during that time. The only image of an Israelite was basically the brothers that basically come from one West that kind of have extreme views. Okay. And I got my hat in the ring on the debate and things of that nature for the sole purpose of really to promote the church from the perspective that one of the major things that black conscious people have against the mainline Israelite community is that they really hate Africans and Africa, and they'll use very negative terms like those stinking Africans and things of that nature. And the black conscious community really glorify Africa as the motherland and the homeland. So as GOCC, we don't have that type of view. We actually teach the opposite, that many inhabitants of Africa are actually part of the Israelite diaspora, and there is an Israelite culture in Africa, and there's been for many years. So I want to kind of show the black conscious community, so-called, a different view of an Israelite that they probably would never knew they existed. I mean, they were surprised that we have brothers from Ghana, we have brothers from Nigeria in our church, and we accept them as being Israelites. And a lot of the Israelites that come, especially from One West, don't really teach that are, there are many Israelites in Africa today. So I wanted to kind of bring and kind of educate the populace, and that was my major motivation and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But you're right. But what I realized is that, and especially when we did the Cameron trial, I would say 60% of the population were Israelites, and I'll say within the population that were there, many of them were GOCC members. And not to say that other Israelites did come to support it, but I looked at my area where all the supporters that we got promoting through our channels and things of that nature, of course, Sinetta and things of that nature. But the church really supported me and this endeavor that they Lamala Hobb drove in, a lot of brothers from flew in to see this thing and supported this thing from Sinetta. And then of course I think when you and I when you came by, and then there was another presentation that we were doing, and you came to that, and there was basically, I think, a presentation where the Hebrew Israelites came together and kind of did, they had different speakers and things of that nature. Once again, the majority of the people that were there, a lot of Israelites were GOCC members supporting, because we were there, you were there, I was there, and things of that nature. So you came up with the idea, said, Gabal, we could do this ourselves. Yeah. And we could set the stage. We clearly got the infrastructure, we got the numbers, so that clearly, and of course, a lot of that came from the perspective, and that's when the idea that we should start doing a lot of we should start doing the Passovers collectively, because at that time every church was kind of doing their own Passover in their own respective areas. And of course, we did the big Passover. In the first year was 1,500. The second year was over 2,000. And this year we're expecting, close to about 3,000. So I think, and really, I think that was in 2 years ago. We from 2018. I think 2016 was the first major Passover that we did, and that was kind of like the kind of spring roll that the church what is now. And I think you're right that now we have the numbers, we have the infrastructure, and we still have to work on some more infrastructure and things of that nature that you and I, talked about with the music and other stuff and things of that nature, and just, training the leadership and all that. We're still working on that. But I think now as a church, we are better than we ever was before to kind of set up our own media outlet, our own talking workshops, and invite other groups into our venues, and we will set the stage, not going to other people's stage, because now we have the numbers, we have the infrastructure to do that. So, and I think you were right back then. You made the statement, and you're right now. I think GOCC, in the period of we're approaching our 10-year anniversary, and we have become a force to be reckoned with, and we really have not really tapped into our full potential. So absolutely, I think we should get creative and come up with different venues, but I think it should come from the leadership on down. I think many things that we have seen, and you and I have talked about, is that people will come in our church and see the potential. They see the dollar sign, they see the numbers, and they start saying, okay, the church is lacking on this and it's lacking on that. Let me come in and fill in that gap. And not to say that we don't promote businesses. We have the network of business, GOCC network, and we promote different things. But stuff like these type of venues, like these workshops, and these even these, music is a powerful thing. In the turn of a century, when the radio was invented, the Christian church, compared to the Pentecostal church and things of that nature, called it the devil box. They shunned it. They didn't want to be part of it. But many pastors realized that, we could utilize the radio to promote the gospel. Then later on they kind of changed their mind and things of that nature. And using that as example, that we have to start using what is going on among us culturally to actually set the stage with music, with, arts. We could start doing plays. We could start doing so many things to kind of be a force to be reckoned with. And right now we got the talent and the numbers to actually do these things. So, but I should believe it should come from the leadership on down, so we could control the narrative and the direction, whatever venue, we're doing. So, absolutely, I agree with you then, and I agree with you now that we should definitely set these platforms, and it should come from the leadership on down. So, absolutely, but there is a lot of hustlers out there within the black community. And what has happened for many years is that this whole pseudo scholarship, you got guys out there that there's a new guy come by the name of Jabari, and he's out there. He's a Egyptologist or Egypt defender, and he his angle is that that the Bible is very misogynist and it's against women, and he's the best way to describe it is like a feminist, for the Kemetic community, so to speak, defending the uplifting the black woman and things of that nature. And then I was watching a debate that he was having with another Israelite brother, and the brother brought out actually writings of Kemetic teachings, showing that they were telling, here was a king telling his son how to rule his kingdom, and he was telling them, you should control women, don't let a woman, and don't put women in, be careful because don't put them in power position, keep them at home. So he was saying you're supposed to be this Kemet defender of black women, but here in these writings, and things of that nature, you can clearly see they are degrading women in what you claim the Bible does and things of that nature. Now, so what is happening?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You can end it right there. Tell me in that point, and then we're going to bring it in. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what's happening in particular in Harlem, because this is a phenomenon that you go to Harlem, is that many brothers in Harlem has created this pseudo scholarship that no other Egyptian historian is promoting other than them, and because the black man and the black woman is looking for some direction, and they have demonized the Bible, and they think the Bible is a white man's book, or many black hustlers, as you mentioned, has hustled the Bible, used the Bible as a hustle game, and become, many black men and women have woken up to that fact. They're looking elsewhere, and you got these other hustlers, these Kemetic hustlers and things of that nature, promoting the black woman and your queen and your goddess and things of that nature. But when you actually look at the Egyptian literature, it's not promoting none of that and things of that nature. So, in Harlem, they're all over the place. These pseudo scholarship that they just, telling a dream to black men and black women that doesn't exist nowhere outside of, that bubble called Harlem. So I just want to end there, Elder.
Well, you know what? It's a good point you brought out, Gabar, and what this is. Listen, I understand these brothers are searching for themselves, right? The Bible tell you that we're like sheep. We're the lost sheep, right? So I want to make it clear, right? When you don't know who you are as a people, by default, you begin to etch out for yourself your own, creation of what you believe you are. And that's what we see within that particular community, a lost people with understanding and with, not biblical knowledge, not spiritual knowledge, not righteous spiritual knowledge, but world knowledge. So through world knowledge, just like Satan tempted Eve and Adam and says, I will make you as gods. Well, these people are individuals who etch out something for themselves outside of everyone else. And that's what we see in the conscious community. Everyone made themselves their own God or their own idea, and they had to come with an idea different from everyone else so that they can show how much of a God they are opposed to others. And they're struggling for the same poor penny. Now, let me drop this real quick in a nutshell, because we got to go into the lesson, right? Here's the issue, Gabar, that that I'm talking about, and it goes back to Micah, where it talks about the prophets were crying to the Most High about these men who was divining for reward and really didn't care about the people, right? Like anyone that brings out the truth about the Bible are ridiculed on that platform. He comes off under the guise, well, I just let everyone freely just bring their information and then we let the people decide. That's utterly ridiculous, because the people are coming there not to decide. They're coming there to find what's true, right? So, so I've seen, you know, because sometimes I go online and look at these other things, and I've seen, and I like to talk about what's going on within the community also, not only just international issues, but, you know, I came, you know, I'm from, my family, all of us are from the same place. We're from there. We've witnessed this. But all in all, if the brother got a platform, I never seen him interrogate Umar Johnson like he do in Israelite. Like he do a brother, you know, like there's a brother of UPK under Johanna. What's his name that I've seen?
That's I forgot his name.
Taurus Zayak or Taurus Zayak. Tazaria. Yeah. Let me tell you, that's a pretty sharp brother, right? The brother is sharp. He you know, and I see he's there, you know, bringing some levity biblically on that platform sometimes when I do go and see it. But I see how they try to interrogate and trap this brother up. But yet, I don't know an Israelite anywhere who told people that give us some money for a GoFundMe and took over almost $500,000 for the community. But yet, that platform didn't interrogate Umar Johnson like that. Anybody that come on talking about the Bible is interrogated. But anyone that falls in line with Sinetta beliefs, even though he won't say what he really believe in, he'll never. Shouldn't this guy be interrogated opposed to Israelites? Shouldn't he be on the platform and asking, being roasted and asked the right questions? Like, brother, where's the money? Where's the receipts? Okay, straight up. Yeah. But you know what? But I'm going to tell you right now. This is what's going on, brothers and sisters. And this is how it's going to hit home. It hits home like this. When you begin to teach, then it goes into the so-called man watching. But then the man will use his lieutenants and bring you on and have you say some things already known, already with the knowledge that you have compromised yourself, right? See, if they were to deal with this on the lowest level, it wouldn't have gotten here. Let me show you. And then we'll go into the lesson in a moment. This is how it happened.
Credentials.
Now, people ask me.
God. During the interview, Johnson talked about a whole range of issues. It led to him being the talk of Black Twitter last week. And a lot of people were questioning his educational credentials.
Now, people ask me, what can we expect from a Donald Trump White House for Black America? And the answer is real simple. You can expect exactly what you got from a Obama White House. Absolutely nothing. Black people know they're not American, but they will fight like hell to protect that identity because they don't want to be identified with who they really are, and that's being African. As long as you have a skill, you can always feed your family. But if all you got is college degrees, you might end up in the unemployment line. I'm a psychologist. Ain't too many black people running around looking for a psychologist to reveal all the skeletons in their closet.
All right, folks, joining us right now, Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome back to the show. First and foremost, it was amazing looking at this whole reaction. I mean, I'm sitting here, you know, again, people asking all kind of questions, things are blowing up. And so many people jumped on saying he's not a real doctor, okay? Where did you graduate from and you got your PhD?
My undergraduate education was from Millersville University.
3 degrees, political science, psychology, master's in school psychology. Subsequent to that, Pennsylvania certification as a school psychologist, which I've been for almost 20 years. After that, I got my educational leadership master's degree and principal certificate from Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I earned my doctorate degree from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, American Psychological Association approved program, one of the top psychology training programs on the East Coast. 6 degrees in all. And anyone can lift up a telephone and call and verify those degrees.
So when you see folks who question your degrees, your response?
It's because my narrative is a whole lot, sir, an ancestor of mine.
So when you say ancestor,
here's more.
Black woman, it is still a contradiction. No matter how much you think, no matter how successful they are, a woman who looks like you. Let me break it down.
Because again,
here you go, y'all.
You tried to claim ancestor. What does that mean?
Let me break it down.
Because again,
now the first thing was asking his credentials. Now mind you, the producers, which are Zionist brothers and sisters, already had these questions prepared, knowing what they were going to charge him for. This is how it works. They'll let you run for years.
Give you rope.
And they'll give you rope, just like you said, Shaphat. So you know his line of questioning is not to get these answers. Because if this guy on the right was for the black community, the first question he would have asked is the same question Sayonetta should have asked. Hey, brother, where's the money? Where's the money that you took from the black people you claim you care for? But he was getting information that the government could use. Listen.
Again, some have said you tried to claim that you are a descendant of Frederick Douglass.
Okay, so let's deal with that.
So hold on one second. Here's a statement from the family. Let me go ahead and read this, please. The family of Frederick Douglass has received numerous inquiries about Umar Johnson questioning his relationship to Frederick Douglass. There have also been questions about his legitimacy of his PhD and the handling of the donations he's received for his school that he is promoting. We can tell you with 100% certainty that he is not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. With that being said, Mr. Johnson is very careful not to bill himself as a descendant, but he doesn't correct people when they refer to him in this way.
Now, hold up. He's back there coughing and everything. Now, listen to this. Right? So, he came up with a school that never existed called the Marcus Garvey Frederick Douglass Academy. All this money. Now, said he had credentials he didn't have. The whole time, the so-called conscious community allowed this to happen and could have stopped it before it got there. Right? But they know why they didn't? Because of the popularity of the good ideas that were being spewed, they could give shows, lectures, and all these other things and teach a pie in the sky type of doctrine amongst the people, knowing that there wasn't going to be a school. Now, here it is. He's put on the national, if not international, platform with mainstream news controlled by Zionists who know he don't have credentials, who know he's not related to Frederick Douglass. They contacted the family. Who knows that this brother don't have a school? They even knew what he did with the money because it's their banks. They have all the receipts for his spending. Right? And this is what the Bible says. The Bible tell you about these people that operate like this, that's allowed to do it because why? The leadership is corrupt and no one can call them out. No one can say anything about it. But through this, it led to a letter that came in August that say, listen, we need you to come to court. Why? You're not who you say you are. You're not a clinical psychologist. And you've been claiming that. And you've been, we have you on record claiming that you've been advising children. And this, that, and the other, been doing all these things. Brothers and sisters, the reason why they're putting this publicly, it's not just about the conscious community and all that. They need to now show an example so that our people could no longer trust any of us. And they're going to use him as the example. That's what it's about. Because even though he don't think he's an Israelite, them Jewish people know he's an Israelite. See? So brothers and sisters, I'm just putting this out there to say, listen, it's time for our people to set standards aligned with God's standards when it comes to who we associate ourselves with. Period. If you don't have no morality code according to God, I'm not going to help you. Okay? And I would say any brother and sister who believe in the Most High God in the Bible, they should renounce the conscious community altogether because they are against the Bible. Altogether. Don't deal with them. Don't give them nothing, because anything they get, it will be to their own detriment and ours. And see, the Bible tells you about this. Okay, the Bible tells you about this, and I wanted to put that out there. Anything you would like to say in closing? You can see this stuff online yourself, but they're about to rake this brother through the coal based on his own words. And no one, I don't know who the brother have advising for him. I pray for him. I don't know who's advising him, but guess what? They're going to use him as an example. And you know what? And after it's shown what these brothers always knew, Sinetta and all these other brothers, what's going to happen? You got it. They're going to now go to the other side and attack them as if they always knew. Okay? Because there's no code. There's no solidarity and brotherhood amongst thieves. Go ahead. I'll give you the last word on that, Gabar, and then we'll go into the lesson. And I wish you Godspeed. I know you need some rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think there's nothing more to say or to add. It's just, it's sometimes sad because, Umar Johnson, a lot of the stuff that he's bringing out, he's a smart guy, articulate. He brings good points. He brings good stacks. But he doesn't need to create a reality that's not real,
Hey, Gabar, I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Yes.
Keep your point. Don't forget your point. But I want to put this out there because I keep on hearing this, right?
Yeah.
That he's a smart guy. I don't. The Bible tell you about the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. To the world, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Right? Right? So I don't see a trail of smart activity going on here. Of intelligence. Okay?
Yeah.
So who you are on stage and who you act, anyone can read something and act a part. But
yeah.
Your actions in life shows your intelligence. But go on.
Yeah, so it is a sad situation, and
yeah.
Once again, I think this reminds me when Christ was speaking to the Samaritan woman, is that you worship not what, we know what we worship for salvation of the Jews,
yeah.
But now the Most High is the Most High is the Spirit and truth, and he that worship the Most High must worship the Spirit and truth. But now. Is when the Most High is seeking his true worshipers. So I think what is happening is that all these other type of so-called conscious community, they all falling one by one. And I think when it's all said and done, the last thing that the black community and Hispanic community is going to be left with, that they never really try in its totality, is those scriptures. So it's the last man standing. I think when it all comes down, they're gonna say, you know what, for all its troubles and things of that nature, the Hebrew Israelite community, they've been standing and they still strong, and they don't get caught up with all these crazy madness or cause this always issues. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, the gathering Christ Church is going to be the last man standing, if the Most High's will. So we just got to keep doing the work. They will all fall one by one, and hopefully they'll come to the light and come to the right side of things.
And you know what? Just like anyone who may sin and fall short or whatever the case is, the Most High have made enough water for everyone. It rains all the time. And I'll tell you right now, if someone would confess their faults, because I'm going to tell you this. If this brother just came out and said, listen, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You understand? Listen, I'm sorry. This thing got before me. It all happened so all at once. And the wrong side of me took over. I was wrong. And you know what? Our people are a very forgiving people. If he was to just put down his pride and say, listen, I spent the money. I was wrong. You know what? The people will embrace him. Because then that would show a spiritual intelligence in him. And our people would say, well, listen, you did wrong. But now, since you understand you're wrong, let's now talk about how to back and do these ideas righteously. Okay, that's how it happens. But it doesn't happen by, by people just ignoring the situation. You must show some humility and some contrite remorse for your actions. Christ says, rebuke, and if thou repent, forgive. Our people are forgiving people. I'm going to tell you that right now. So there's a chance for all of our brothers, whether you're in the conscious community or wherever you are, the Lord still loves you. He still cares for you. And see, and that's the whole point. But sometimes he puts you in a position where, on this earth, where you see yourself for what you really are. And everyone comes to that impasse. Now, either, and this is what's going to happen if he don't repent and be contrite, because the Most High have the enemy at the door, then the Most High will have him go through even more worse than what he think he could go through, until it's just him standing before the Most High. It's always that way, saying, son, humble yourself. Son, bow. Son, please bow. If you don't, I'm going to push you further. I'm going to keep pushing you. Don't try to get up. That's how the Father works. So I'm going to say this. This is not to beat on the brothers and all that and come down on them. Only thing the brother would have to do is say, listen, be transparent and say, listen, I got caught up and I was wrong. I'm sorry. And don't try to come with a reason why. Don't try to say, well, because of you Negroes and this, that, and the other. No, this is what I did wrong.
Right.
And I need you to forgive me. If he come like that, then the Spirit will begin to work with him. And I'm not talking about people. People are fickle. They'll be on either side. I'm talking about the Spirit of the Most High will begin to work with him. With that, let's go into the lesson. Who's Edom? Elder Gabar, I love this exchange. It's the first time we've done it in the academy, and I got to do more of this, bringing elders and deacons from different parts of the world, just like yourself, different parts of the states or whatever, and give their insight on what's going on in the earth.
Absolutely. Amen. Let's keep doing it. All praise to the Most High.
I love you, man. Shalom.
Shalom.
You stay strong. Okay. Do y'all have any words or y'all good?
No, sir.
Oh, you know what? Let's get it. The lesson?
Who is Edom?
Who is Edom? Coming up next. Brothers and sisters, hey, the truth is the truth. We thank you for your participation in this academy. We have a lot more to go. Like I said, this news we cover internationally, internally, community-wise. And guess what? The Most High going to have it where the Gathering of Christ Church will soon have a grassroots community, interaction on a regular basis, throughout the earth. It's time now. It's time to sit and have those meetings with the pastors. Not debates and all those things, meetings. Okay? It's time that we begin to go into the community and give our people a viable, righteous option. That's what you are for. Get ready. Hey, The harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Hold tight. We'll be right back with Who is Edom? To Zion.